And for Off the Block, I'm Van Lipson. We're now here with the USC men's volleyball coach, Jeff Nygaard, the recently hired new head coach. And Jeff, you were hired last week. What has this week been like for you, having gotten the new head coaching job?
It's funny you should say that, because I've spent a lot of time just reflecting on what's happening. And in my thought process and in my world, this whole week has been just a phenomenal response. I have people that I haven't spoken to in 20-plus years contacting me and connecting with me, congratulating me, and it's been phenomenal. And in the recess of my own mind, it's that I haven't changed one bit, yet it seems like everyone else has had a different view of me, a different way of approaching me, and all of a sudden I'm in the public eye in a way that I haven't been in a long time, being on the national team, and even more poignantly, when I was on the podium for winning a tournament at the FIVB or AVP event. So this week has been nothing but a constant buzz of just emotion, feedback, conversations, planning, thinking, some anxieties, and some just breakthrough confidence thoughts, and meeting with the team whenever I can and talking to people. It's been a whirlwind that's been phenomenal.
And, I have to ask, because you were on Coach Ferguson's staff, was it at any point at all a little difficult for you to apply for the job, just knowing that, your boss for many years had left the position?
When it first hit that's what had happened, and the future was just uncertain, even up to the point where they offered me the job, there was still the uncertainty of knowing what's happening, and the transparency was that it was a completely open field. There really wasn't a front runner, so to speak. So up until they said that we want to hire you, and I said I accept, there was a lot of uncertainty. There was conversation. My wife, and I'm very fortunate in this regard, she does a great job for her company, and we had to explore other options just so that, if it didn't hit and I wasn't able to continue with USC, that we had plans in place. And so, yeah, there was a great deal of uncertainty going in, and then, you work with someone for 5 years, and you consider them your friend, and you spend a great deal of time, and all of a sudden, that has to end, and it ends really abruptly. I left a void, and it just was a lot, again, of different uncertainty of, well, what do we do, and how do we handle ourselves, and we have to continue being a professional in the environment, yet the direction was a little bit off, so yeah, there were some obstacles to have to get through, but at the end of it, it's been, again, a challenging, and it shuffled the priorities in a lot of ways and made things way more interesting in terms of, how I go about my average day. And so, yeah, that was a difficult time for a little while, but now, regardless of how challenging or how much work has to go into it, now I know exactly what has to happen. I know my family and I are going to be staying in LA. I know exactly what's going to happen. My wife doesn't have to pursue her career within her job, other than still doing a great job for what she's already doing. So there's a lot of other things that just dropped off that no longer have to be worried about.
Well, and talking about some of the challenges that you face with USC, what do you think is the biggest challenge that you guys are going to face for the 2016 season?
The number one challenge, it's going to have to be a change of perception. I don't think in a long time the goal has been aligned with what the efforts, with what the mentality, with what the boosters, with what the administration has wanted it to be. I can speak specifically that there's almost a fear sometimes of speaking of going after a national title or setting the goal as a national title. And I think from the top down, the message has to be clear that that's what our efforts are geared towards. The goal has to be trying to win a national title, because a person's mentality always seeks what they tell itself, what they assign as their goal. So if that is the goal, then it's a clear-cut path of how to go about business. It's a clear-cut path of what everyone's ego involved is earmarked for, what your energies are going towards. You can transcend the individual for the good of the team. You can achieve things you never thought possible. We have to get some groundswell inspiration with the boosters, with the administration. So it's just making sure that everyone's on board with the exact same vision of what has to happen and how to go about it.
And just to follow up on that, with the roster that you have coming back next year, do you feel that this is a team in 2016 that, can compete for a national championship?
Well, when you answer that question, it doesn't exactly challenge what I just say. I mean, sure, of course I think we can win with this team. There's no question in my mind that we have the ability. Now, do I look at our team and say we have more talent than, say, another team that has, maybe a senior-laden team? I think we have a few more challenges ahead of us to overcome in that regard, for sure. We have a lot of work that needs to be done. We have way more development that needs to be in place, but we've got some guys who, if they're not All-Americans, they should be in consideration of All-Americans by the end of the year. So there is some talent. We do have great arms. We do have great volleyball IQ. We have a great work ethic. We have guys that are phenomenal students, and I mean academically, who put in a lot of hard time that I think just we need to tweak a few things here and there, but by and large, the mentality has to shift in a couple different ways. Development has to be a way more of a poignant point throughout the entire season, not just sporadically. And guys need to buy into that. They need to put in the effort and the willingness. I mean, I think for me, guys have to be attached to the why are they being asked to do certain things. So if a guy goes in and he's able to hit one way, but he's doing it really well, and I say, well, that's great, but let's expand that to hitting in this direction. Let's expand it to doing this, and then learning how to tip and push the ball. All the different facets of how to get a kill for the greater good. They have to be on board with being pushed in all those different directions. So that's part of my job, is to make them believe in that and to understand what's happening and why they need to do it.
And, you look at your career, obviously, one of the best college men's volleyball careers of all time. How much has that experience, at USC or UCLA, helped you as a coach and just understand what needs to happen to win a national championship?
Well, two things I want to say about that. Number one, that was our goal on the team at UCLA, and there was no brokering of anything less than that. I took second my junior year, and the letter that came out was that we took second, and our goal was to win. So the season was considered a failure, which, it's a hard-line thing, but it also sets you up for the exact direction that needs to happen. And I want to back it up a step and say that I learned some pretty hard lessons in my high school that transcended what happened, at UCLA. And it's formative things that my old high school basketball coach would consistently tell me, Nygaard, you're not going to be an All-American with an effort like that. Or even better, suck it up, Nygaard. So there's some echoing coaching that came from even before I was at my college that has been formative in what I've always done, because I can guarantee you that there's been some times where I can't believe I have to do another set of this or another set of that. Back in my head, my high school coach just gets in there and gaps, and I hear it soundly, just suck it up. So, to me, it's the formation of way more than just where I played college.
And, we talked a little bit about the players who you have on the roster, but moving forward, talking about, the recruiting, I know we can't get into the specifics of the players who you want to recruit, but, what's the type of volleyball player who you're hoping to bring to USC?
Well, number one, they have to be able to understand what SC brings to the table for them and what the family is all about. They have to have that kind of a global vision of understanding what SC is and how special of a place it is. They need to be hard workers. I mean, specifically, I'd like to get back to bringing in some big guys with really good arms. They have to have a certain subset of academics that comes into play, and they have to be passionate about the game. I could go into depth about 700 different things that would have to fall into place for me to get that, and that just kind of makes it a smaller and smaller pool of what I'm looking for. There's the intangibles about the guy who refuses to let a ball drop. There's the guy who's able to corral his team and give them leadership. There's the guy who's the captain. There's the guy who is so aggressive that all he wants to do is get kills, and it doesn't really matter how. There's the guy who's the team player. So understanding who and what my guys are on my team, and then finding those players that can fulfill a niche or transcend what's already there and help us in the direction of winning a national title is what I'm looking for.
And final question for me, it's, as you alluded to earlier, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind this first week, but what is that moment going to be like for you in January, that first game when you're introduced as the head coach and it's your debut on the sidelines?
I probably will allow for a moment of recognition of how incredible and special it is and what an honor and privilege it is, and then it's time to get to work. Because quite frankly, if I'm really going to let you behind the curtain, I still can't believe that I'm afforded this type of an opportunity for doing something that I absolutely love. It blew my mind when I was able to join the national team and they gave me a paycheck to play, and then I was able to buy a car one day, and that somebody gave me keys to a car, and all I do is play volleyball. It blew my mind then. It blows my mind now. I can't even begin to express how fortunate I am. And when that moment comes where they say, in first year of coaching, yeah, there's going to be a moment where the reality hits home, and then the whistle's going to blow and it's game on time.